Good morning.
Text to speech enabled.
How's everyone doing? Oh, I like your name. I love cake.
It's afternoon in Sweden.
Oh,
I
is
just got home from work.
Oh, nice. I am just heading to work.
Happy birthday to me.
Yay. It's your birthday.
It is 41 laps around the sun completed. Here's to 41 more.
Nice. That's a good
You're
birthday.
gonna party like it's Frackberg birthday.
Well, look at this day. It's beautiful for your birthday. At least here it is.
That's usually an uneventful party.
Should be pretty warm today. It's a little crisp this morning, but I have a feeling it's gonna get hot.
1 mile on the right accelerate. Red lightning in the cornfields doesn't seem like a good idea. So I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, you don't want to ride if it's lightning. Then you'll ride the lightning. Ha ha ha. Oh, truck, why are you passing me right now? Don't pass me. I'm gonna like...
Fans always think you're more important.
Well, it's that hill. Everyone, like every car tries to pass me on that hill. And it's right. The problem is I'm only doing about 34 as I crest. So they think, oh, he's doing way below the speed limit. Let's just like pass him. But as soon as they pass me, it gets steep and I exceed the speed limit. Oh, I love this temperature. This is a nice riding temperature. So if you're not going to ride 41 miles for your birthday, what is on the schedule for your birthday? What are you doing for the rest of the day?
Sorry, walked away from the computer for a minute.
No problem. I was just saying, what's your plans for your birthday if you're not going to ride?
So, I have a run builder workout at some point today.
That's a good idea. That's a good... You just run 41 feet. That's all you got to do. 41 feet for your birthday.
To just spin the legs a bit. I rode with my local group yesterday, and despite them going at a relaxed pace, I about died. It was a great time.
Yeah, that happens. It makes it real easy to sort of push yourself if you're chasing other people. Oh crap, I forgot a battery. Oh well.
There, relaxed, was definitely higher than my pace. But I hung on for about 2/3 roads of the 25-mile route.
That's good then. That's what I used to do at the crit races. We have a local crit that runs on Tuesdays through the spring. Except this year, attendance has kind of gotten crappy, but we never had enough people to have multiple divisions. So everyone just rode together. And that was my whole goal, was just hang on for as long as I could. You know, the first race, I made it 6 laps. Second race, 8 laps. I think there was once in a while I would get very close to the end before getting dropped. But it's funny to think, there's guys in the pack that aren't going as hard as they could because they're strategizing for sprints. and I am just hanging on for dear life for the whole thing. And then the draft, if you get a gap of 5 feet, you're like, no, I can't go any harder. And then the 5 feet becomes 6 feet, and you're like, man, I just need to get that guy's wheel. And you stand up and you try to sprint, but you're in the wind, and no matter how hard you pedal, you can't close that gap. So you give up.
Yeah, draft definitely saved me a lot while I was hanging on.
And then you come around the next turn and you see that they're only like 40 feet ahead of you, and you think, okay, I rested a bit. Can I pull in that 40 feet and get back on their wheel? So you stand up and sprint, and no, you can't make up that 40 feet. You're done. So then you slow way down for when they lap you, and you look back and you hear them coming. So you start speeding up, and they go past you so fast that you still can't get on the wheel. It's like, no! What's really hard with the crits, and I guess group riding in general, is if you're new to group riding, you want to your brain tells you to hang off the back and sort of like be around the back so you're not interrupting anybody, but the ideal position, is to be third or fourth. But it's hard to get your brain to, be like, no, I need to be near the front. There's more draft near the front. Actually, with crits, the biggest problem in being near the back is the turns. The first 3 guys, or the first 5 guys that go through the turn, don't put the brakes on. They just fly through the turn full speed, and then everyone after that taps their brakes. But if you're near the back, all of a sudden you're going 20k an hour through the turn, while the lead guys are going 40k, and you have to accelerate massively out of every turn. And that's usually what kills me, is the constant 5 times per lap doing 700 watt accelerations. But that also makes you super strong, because doing that constantly all the time, or doing that on repeat, you can't do it any longer.
The turns where I ride almost always have gravel in them, so I'm super paranoid and slow more than I probably should.
Yeah, well, we like with the crit races, we go and sweep the turns, so we know they're good, but it's just the nature of the pack. Like, so if you can work your way and get up to the top 5 guys, you almost never ever touch your brakes. Like, I went from holding on for 10 laps to almost making a full race just by staying near the front. Well, the problem with that too, though, is if you're near the front, you eventually get on the front. And they would know that as soon as I got on the front, that's when they would usually attack. And then I would get dropped. I was like, come on, guys.
Just race fixed gear, no brakes to touch. Problem solved.
Yeah, like those Red Bull, the ones that I think Terry filmed some, or someone filmed some. Those indoor go-kart track fixed gear Red Bull crits. Those look like a huge amount of fun. I do have to report that real tubeless tire tape works compared with black electrical tape. Took my wheel or tire off and redid the rim tape with real rim tape and pumped the tire up once, and it held overnight to the exact same PSI. Didn't even lose more than 1 PSI overnight. Stupid black electrical tape. It's so handy and for so many things, but not for tubeless rim tape.
Are you using stands?
No, I have I was using Silka brand rim tape and Orange Seal sealant.
My tire weeks sealant out.
Usually, like some,
It's good to be safe.
usually that happens a little bit, and then once the sealant sort of dries, it kind of seals up the tire. Like I'll get some weeping around the rim just a little bit. Hey, clutch. I don't know why I did.
Switching over to tubeless.
Yeah, I love tubeless. I've been on tubeless since 2017. It's the freaking best invention for bikes ever. I have never gotten a flat that I couldn't, that didn't repair itself, or I couldn't pump back up. I have had in a few cross races, I've burped the tire where the bead pulls off a little bit and I've lost air, but I've been able to pump it back up. That's too loud for the morning. It's too loud!
I think it depends on tires. In the past, tubeless didn't work well for high-si road tires.
Yeah, you gotta get actual like tubeless, like ready tires. That's the key. See, on my cross bike, these rims are rated for tubeless and the tires are rated for tubeless, and I can pump them up with a hand pump, and they surprisingly hold air well with no sealant. The sealant just helps for getting holes in the tire and filling them up.
Well, I have tubeless ready rims, but I have 25C tires that I run at like 110 PSI.
Yeah, I pump my tires up to max on my road bike. For TTs and that, I'll put my tires at 110, or I'll put them at the max. I think it's 107. Oh, look at that. Where'd he go? Where'd it go? There's a rabbit that came to visit me.
Interesting. I have been told that tubeless doesn't work as well for high-si.
That is... Well, see, what happens is, so yes. So if you get a hole in your tire when you have high PSI, you lose more pressure before the sealant seals it up. But I've had it happen to me a bunch of times with some thorns or a piece of glass. You only lose about 20 PSI. So if you're running 100, you drop down to 80. If you have 110, you're dropping down to 90. Like, that's still decent. But there's a misconception out there because some of the manufacturers have charts. Actually, there was a discussion on Doc's Discord about this because we dug deep into it. And the charts that they provide are recommended PSIs, not theoretical maxes. And so what happens is people go on these manufacturers' websites and see these charts. And the chart will say, oh, if you're 200 pounds, you should only put like 85 PSI in your tire if it's a 25. But the fine print on websites like Envy's website actually say it is safe to go to the manufacturer's maximum PSI. So the charts that they have are strictly just for comfort. Like, hey, yeah, if you want to be comfortable and like a good PSI to start with is this. Those aren't the maxes. All the rim manufacturers have said, I mean, when we're talking hooked rims, not necessarily hookless. Hookless is like it's a whole nother section. But hooked rims, because if you got to think, I have tubeless on my road bike. I got Continental GP5000 tubeless tires. They have a max rating of, I think, 105 PSI. So why wouldn't I be allowed to put 105 PSI? Like, the tire manufacturer is saying, this is a tubeless tire, this is what you can pump it to. And really, if you look at rim specs, the rim manufacturers, tires, the rims are good for like 200 PSI. Like a rim manufacturer is not going to make a rim that blows at 100 PSI because the tires are higher than that. But I've ridden, my road bike has been tubeless since 2017. End of 2017. And I quite regularly never go below 90 PSI. Because also, I'm a big guy. So anything lower than that, probably going to hit the rim.
Discovered on my vintage road bike, someone put green slime in the original tube,
Oh.
and I didn't know.
Oh.
I had it there forever before I finally got a flat bad enough to replace it. Sort impressed me, because I had the original tubes in for several years.
Oh, I remember the slime tubes. That was like the pre. That was the 90s version of tubeless. Those tubes were, they worked really well for thorns and small holes. But if you got anything bigger than a thorn, the tube would catastrophically blow up inside the tire and you would get slime, that green slime goop, everywhere. Everywhere.
The original owner was a bike messenger.
They worked awesome for, like I say, for small stuff, man, they were fantastic. Yeah, we used to have in the shop I worked at, we had like a gallon, like a big tub of it, and you would actually put it in people's tubes. You would remove the valve core and you'd pump like, for a 26-inch mountain bike, you'd pump, 3 pumps into their tube. Oh, green light. Oh, yellow. Or Mr. Tuffy rim strips. They went between the tube and the tire. Absolutely a massive pain to install, but they work well as well.
just changed my tube on a ride this week.
Well, it's hilarious. Like every time our club goes for a ride,
It was the first time in a while though.
there's people blowing tubes. There's more pictures on the bike club Discord of guys replacing tubes than there is of actual biking pictures. Because whenever they get a blowout, they all stop and take pictures of the ride.
Lol.
Well, even the other day, like was it 2 weeks ago? I had a 1/4-inch bolt in the back tire. I pulled it out, let the sealant do its job. Had to get
Try to switch it out as quick as possible and move on.
yeah. So you don't make a scene. I had to add more air to the tire, but the sealant totally sealed. There's a huge hole.
Usually takes me about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't do it very often. That's actually probably the one main downfall. Tubeless tires.
I have a tire boot for that reason also.
Yeah. Tubeless tires are way harder to get off the rim. So if you do have a huge blowout where you need to install a tube, that can be a not fun project on the side of the road. Excuse me. I have I have like Silka plastic.
So though I ripped my front tire completely open on a ride.
Yeah. I have Silka plastic coated metal tire levers. There's plastic on them, so when they touch the rim, they don't scratch the rim, but they're metal, so you can like get a massive amount of leverage without them bending.
I use gator skins right now. People say it is hard to get off, but I don't have problems with it.
Oh, gator skins? Yeah, those tires are awesome. When I was using my road bike for commuting, I used gator skins, and I never had gator skins with
I have
tubes.
plastic ones. They work well for me.
Yeah, the gator skins with tubes worked fantastic.
I got good at it when I had a wheel-on trainer. The special tire I have for it is probably the hardest tire to get on I have used.
Oh, the super wheel on trainer tire. Oh, hey Dimitri. That was close, Dimitri. It was real close. Actually, when I had my wheel on trainer, I just left the gator skin on and it totally did well as a wheel on trainer. It maybe slipped a bit more than a trainer tire, but
Just here trying to make sure the path is clear.
yeah, good. Thanks for clearing it. We got it.
Yeah, it's a blue tire Saris makes.
Yeah, I never got any extra wear on the tire, but yeah, it would slip it would start slipping around 11% elevation in Zwift, but that's 11%. That's pretty steep. I'm not trying to give her up that 11% anyway, so I'll just slow down a little bit. It's funny how well sound travels across water. There's people on those boats out there and they're talking. And I know that they're talking, but I can't quite make out what they're saying. And they're way farther away than I should be able to know that they're talking.
I used GP5000s before this, and Michelin Endurance.
One of my favorite tires, yeah, the GP, funny. So I bought GP5000 tubeless, and then COVID pretty much happened. And I never rode my road bike outside ever. Like the tires probably
I've
have,
been thinking about trying the GP4 season.
yeah, tires probably have 40K on them, but they've been sitting like in the garage on the bike for 3 years. I don't know about the durability though. See, one of my favorite tires of all times was the Michelin Power Competition. Michelin Power Competitions were so freaking amazing, but they were like fragile, like paper thin. And I had them prior to going tubeless, and I got so many flats with them, like the sidewalls would just shred. But man, they had the most grip. Like doing crits with them, I felt like I could lean and...
The GP5000s roll well, but it's like a thin piece of cloth.
Yeah, that's like all those tires. They're great, but like rolling wise, but they're thin. See, with my road bike, I was riding my cross bike most of the time, so my road bike was just getting crit duty and TTs. So I didn't really...
They're also more comfortable than the Gator skins.
Yeah, that's noticeable as well. There's a fine line between supple and not getting punctures. So if I wasn't commuting on the bike, I didn't really worry about getting punctures.
Gator skins have a bit of a garden hose feel.
Yes, that's totally what they feel like, garden hoses.
My Michelin tires were good, but they didn't last me very long.
Yeah, and the Michelin tires, were impossible to get on. Well, with the rims on my road bike anyways. You could not do it by hand. They were like, they would rip the skin off your thumbs. So if you got a flat, oh, you're good luck. I'd end up having to use all 3 tire levers.
Just covered in shit here.
And then I have to use the tire levers, have that little hook to hook it around the spoke to hold it in place. And I had to strategically work a centimeter at a time. Yeah, that's the key. Like if the tire, like if you can do it by hand, then it's... The problem is if you can do it by hand, then sometimes they're not tight enough to seal up easily when they're tubeless.
Trick is to get the tire down into the wheel well, then you have more circumference.
Yeah, oh for sure, for sure. I got one of those tire lever things that like hooks on the rim and pulls the bead up. I bought it for 15 bucks on Amazon for very, very, very stubborn tires. Oh, I'm not gonna make the light.
I just have these 3 thin plastic levers. I was worried they would break at first, but they work well because they are so thin.
Yeah, if you can really hook underneath the rim or underneath the tire and actually catch the edge. Yeah. Those ones there will have a nice view overlooking the bay there. But yeah, that's all they're building these days. Condo buildings. Which, I mean, they don't look the best, but we are really short of housing here. They are not building housing as fast as people are moving here. They released a report.
And still on public infrastructure, so everyone still has to drive everywhere.
Yeah, that's the problem, is they're not increasing the density anywhere. There's 2 projects. Came at the wrong time. Those people are totally having an argument. And it's a serious argument because it's 7:38 a.m. and they got their windows open and she is yelling at them.
Great way to start the day.
Yeah. We haven't had any of these conversations. How much do you give them? Oh, he's in for it. Yeah, there's 2 large projects in Nanaimo that they're trying to build where it's very high density, but then below all the condo buildings is going to be retail stores. So that's perfect, because if you have 600 units of condo building with stores, you literally never need to go anywhere. You go downstairs and you go to the store and you buy stuff. But man, people are freaking. Oh my God, you can't fit that many units on that program. Like, people are losing their freaking minds. It's quite hilarious to read the comments on social media. That hill is kind of hard to making good time today. I was worried. I had a meeting first thing this morning. I was kind of concerned about showing up at work 5 minutes before the meeting, but Today is going quick. I've been efficient.
Time to hit the pump track.
Yeah. Don't got time for that, for sure. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. I don't have much to do tomorrow. Tomorrow, if the weather's good, which it should be, might be a good pump track day.
I went on BMX racetrack and holy shit, the start drop is steep.
It is steep. It doesn't look as steep when if you watch it on YouTube or if you watch it from down below. All right, get into the right gear. Get around the turn.
VELAVOX 223 1411 Ms. Seat switched up. Live VELAVOX 1266 milliseconds.
I gotta get more air.
Gotcha again.
I gotta get more tire air in my front tire. The front tire is holding me back. So I'm going around the corner and it's like super flexy.
Petition the city to widen that path so you can make a better turn.
Yeah, I needed a foot wider. One more foot.
Dear City Council and MPP, I'm trying to live stream here and this tunnel is killing my signal. Can you either add cell tower inside or widen the path so I can bike faster through it?
Exactly.
Rough draft.
Yeah, I'm gonna just copy and paste that and email it to them.
Here they would make it worse for cyclists if they could.
We don't want you streaming in this P tunnel.
Yeah, they'll prob add those berries on left and right to slow people down. Only cars are allowed in the P tunnel. Yes, few bad apples here on waterfront trails and they added those in some bridges and park entrances.
Oh, really?
Saw a guy with a
That sucks. Or they put these bollards, these metal poles, to narrow the entrance. Morning.
This Karen keeps trying to stop on this road leaving town in the opposite lane to yell at me about biking. Every time I keep just biking, and she keeps getting mute upset lol. And they even say to get off the bike, but I think that would just make it worse for everyone.
Getting off your bike and walking
More upset.
is more dangerous than like riding your bike. I hate the whole like walk your bike through a crosswalk rule. I'm safer on my bike. We're gonna go say hi to EIS Live.
Have a good one.
Seems like hitchhiking is the way to increase your follower count and follower and viewer count.
Or bike across the country.
Yeah, that's like, because I know he's a fairly new channel, and in his biking streams he'd have like 1, 2, kind of like what I have, and then as soon as he started hitchhiking he's in the 20s.
I'll take credit for finding him lol.
Yeah, good job, Dimitri.